All right, folks. So after all this time, all this waiting, I'm finally here at the National Archives because of you folks. I'm going to be looking into the most important thing, in my opinion, is some CIA footage, CIA records of UFOs taken in the 1950s, which, according to the Wright-Patterson Air Force analysts, defied explanation to this day, remain unexplained. It's footage that I've never been able to get a hold of. Hopefully today I will. So let's head on in.
For the past 3 years, a large number of perfectly sane and reliable people have been involved in this flying saucer business. Even those of us who have never seen one have become involved. We read about them, talk about them, wonder about these reports of strange phenomena in the skies. So almost from the start, CBS has been following the story. We have been collecting material on flying saucer observations for many months, checking, cross-checking, trying to track down leads, no matter how far afield they took us. This, tonight, is our report. We frankly admit that we don't know whether flying saucers actually exist. We've never seen one. We are going to bring you the facts at hand. What they add up to? Well, that's for you to decide. That's up to you. It all began just a little less than 3 full years ago. It began in the sky over western Washington, up there in the hip pocket of the country. Early one June morning in 1947, a C-46 Marine transport with 32 Marines aboard crashed in the vicinity of Mount Rainier. An air search was immediately organized to locate the downed plane. Among the many service and private flyers who participated in this search was Mr. Kenneth Arnold, a businessman of Boise, Idaho, a veteran pilot in forest fire control work, a man with 6 years' experience flying over the rugged terrain in and around Mount Rainier. Yesterday morning, we spoke to Mr. Arnold over the phone. We asked him to repeat for us, in his own words, what he saw in the sky over Mount Rainier on June 24th, 1947. We recorded what he said, and we're going to play it for you now. The slight beep that you will hear intermittently is required by law to let both parties of a phone conversation know they are being recorded. Here now is Mr. Kenneth Arnold.
It was while I was searching for this crash that I noticed a terrific blue flash pass the nose of my airplane. I noticed that the flash came from a chain of very peculiar-looking objects that were rapidly approaching Mount Rainier at about 170 degrees. This chain of objects were 9 in number. I assumed at the time they were a new formation or a new type of jet, though I was baffled by the fact that they did not have any tails. It passed almost directly in front of me, but at a distance of about 23 miles, which is not very great in the air. I judged their wingspan to be at least 100 feet across. The sighting did not particularly disturb me at the time, except that I had never seen planes of that type.
Mr. Arnold, after landing, made a routine report of what he had seen to a Civil Aeronautics Administration representative. Promptly forgot the matter, until the wheels of publicity began to turn. The floodgates opened.
I never could understand at that time why the world got so upset about this, as these things didn't seem to be a menace. I believe they had something to do with our Army and Air Force.
On 3 different occasions, Mr. Arnold was questioned by military intelligence. They expressed doubt as to the accuracy of some of his reported observations.
That's right. Now, of course, some of the reports they did take from newspapers which did not quote me properly. Now, when I told the press, they misquoted me, and in the excitement of it all, one newspaper and another one got it so snarled up that nobody knew just exactly what they were talking about, I guess.
Here's how the name Flying Saucer was born.
These objects more or less fluttered like they were, I'd say boats on very rough water or a very rough air of some type. And when I described how they flew, I said they flew like you take a saucer and throw it across the water. Most of the newspapers misunderstood and misquoted that, too. They said that I said that they were saucer-like. I said they flew in a saucer-like fashion.
And that was an historic misquote. While Mr. Arnold's original explanation has been forgotten, The term flying saucer has become a household word. Few people realize that Mr. Arnold has reported seeing these same strange objects in the sky on 3 other occasions. He says that some pilots in the Northwest have reported seeing them on 8 separate occasions. We asked for his own personal opinion on the nature of what he and the others had seen.
I don't know how best to explain that. I more or less have reserved an opinion as to what I think. Naturally, being a natural-born American, if it's not made by our science or our Army Air Forces, I'm inclined to believe that it's of an extraterrestrial origin.
Extraterrestrial origin? You mean you think there's a possibility they may be coming out of space from other planets? I suppose that's pretty hard for people to take seriously.
Well, I'll tell you this much. All the airline pilots, none of us have appreciated being laughed at. We made our reports essentially to begin with because we thought that if our government didn't know what it was only our duty to report it to our nation and to our Air Force out of it. I think it's something that is of concern to every person in the country, and I don't think it's anything for people to get hysterical about. Now, that's just my frank opinion of it.
So that's how it all began. That was the trigger action. Kenneth Arnold's story went scudding over the news wires. Radio and newspapers picked it up. And then within days, the country broke out into a flood of flying saucer observations. Many of these reports, a great many of them, obviously could be discounted. Others, reports from perfectly competent, sober, and reliable observers, found no easy answer. In the face of this, late in 1947, the Chief of Staff of the Air Forces, at that time General Carl Toohey Spotts, sent a directive to the Air Materiel Command, located at Wright Field, Ohio.
The Air Materiel Command is directed to set up a project whose purpose is to collect, collate, evaluate, and distribute to interested government agencies and contractors all pertinent information concerning sightings of phenomena in the atmosphere, which can be construed to be of concern to the national security.
So was born Project Saucer. Immediately, the Air Materiel Command went to work. A team of experts was called in. Astronomers, meteorologists, physicists, psychologists, electronic engineers. Anyone who might have any special knowledge that could shed some light on this mystery. These specialists, along with a corps of trained investigators, tracked down every report of a flying saucer they could find. Each person making the report was questioned in detail. The findings were carefully screened by the entire project personnel. And finally, each and every report was evaluated in a detailed study, 2 volumes thick, entitled
Report on Unidentified Aerial and Celestial Objects.
For 2 years, this report was marked secret. But on December 30th, 1949, it was declassified. And tonight, for the first time on the air, we will bring you actual portions of this report, evaluations, summaries, and conclusions. Here, for instance, is a typical case.
8 July 1947, 0930 hours local, Muroc Air Force Base. 4 witnesses all observed 2 silver, disc-like spherical objects against a clear, bright sky. All witnesses estimated the altitude at about 8,000 feet, and the speed between 300 and 400 miles per hour.
Remember, these were trained observers, Air Force men.
The objects reportedly traveled in a straight line, taking the mean reported speed 350 miles per hour and the time in sight 1/2 hour. The objects must then have traveled 175 miles while in sight. If the objects were of such proportions as to be seen at that distance, it is believed that more details could have been observed at the first sighting.
And the Air Materiel Command opinion on the Muroc Air Base sightings was this.
This report is a result of misinterpretation of the nature of real stimuli, probably research balloons.
Another report on January 7th, 1948. Tech Sergeant Quinton A. Blackwell, chief operator of the control tower at Godman Field, an Air Force base at Fort Knox, Kentucky, spotted a strange object hovering over the south portion of the field. In a matter of minutes, a flight of 4 P-51 fighter planes approaching the field were contacted by radio and asked to chase the object. Leader of the flight was Captain Thomas F. Mantel, Jr., a veteran of the Normandy invasion with some 3,000 flying hours to his credit. At 2:45, Mantel reported by radio.
Object directly ahead and above and moving about half my speed. Going up to take a look.
At 3:15, Mantel reported again.
Object still ahead and above. moving at about my speed or faster, 360 miles per hour. The thing looks metallic and is of tremendous size. I'm trying to close in for a better look.
By now, Mantel and his flight were at about 15,000 feet. They had no oxygen equipment. At 18,000 feet, the escorting planes turned back, but Mantel kept climbing. His next report came from 20,000 feet.
Going to 25,000. If no closer, we'll abandon search.
That was the last report from Captain Thomas Mantel. At approximately 25,000 feet, it is believed he blacked out for want of oxygen. His plane climbed another 5,000 feet and then went into a dive. When it crashed, parts of it were scattered around an area covering 1/6 of a mile. Project Saucer's conclusion.
It seems probable that the object observed was the planet Venus.
Later, in a report dated April 27, 1949, this conclusion was reversed. Further investigation showed the elevation and azimuth readings of Venus, and the object, as reported at specified time intervals, just didn't jibe. The object Captain Mantel chased to his tragic death is now officially marked
Unidentified.
So, folks, what an experience here at the archives, and there has to be something I need to emphasize above all things. Number one, as you have seen, I got all the information I needed, but I couldn't have done it without the archivists who work here, many of whom have worked here for over 20 years, many of whom spent years and years in the service, sometimes people who are Vietnam veterans who now work here, people who have been losing their jobs indiscriminately simply because random government cuts have been eliminating their jobs because they don't see the value in them. Let me tell you something. There is great value to this facility, great value to the archives, and enormous value to the people and the experience they bring to the table. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the help that they gave me today, and I can't wait to come back. Thank you again for supporting this trip, and until next time, stay angry about space.